So here we are, week one of my 52 week shooting a roll of film every week a day challenge, 52 rolls project. Week number one, so obviously this week wasn't that much of a problem. I mean, you start a year long project, you hope problems don't start right away in week one, although of course that does happen sometimes. So this week I actually had someplace to go and shoot, and that was a girls engineering STEM project. STEM is a local, actually probably national program, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. It was being held at the Discovery World here in Milwaukee. So I had my camera there, and I shot rolls. Ended up actually shooting 2 rolls of film, which leads to something I knew was going to happen at some point during this year-long project. What if I shoot more than 1 roll of film during a week? That's going to happen, particularly when I go and do fun activities, and the fact that there's only 10 shots per roll of film with my Koni, which means if I'm taking a normal number of pictures, obviously that would be more than 10. Of course, with a digital SLR, I would probably shoot like 400 pictures and then spend 3 weeks sorting through them all to find the 7 good ones. But with 10 shots, you tend to be a little more picky and choosy. I'm trying not to be so picky and choosy that there are no pictures. So I ended up bringing multiple rolls of film. I shot 2 rolls of film, although for reasons I don't entirely know, the second roll of film, which was a color roll from a company called Lomography. Anyway, they had 400 speed color ISO film, and that roll of film only produced 9 images rather than 10. I'm thinking this is because the paper backing was much thicker, so the spacing between the images or the actual shots was much wider than usual, and this resulted in fewer images fewer negatives coming off the roll. I haven't shot a lot of that film, so that was a learning experience for me. I guess I know now for next time. Another thing that has come up is people wondering why I'm shooting medium format for this as opposed to 35 millimeter. 35 millimeter is, of course, the normal film size. People who walk around with cameras. The cameras are a lot smaller, easier to carry. You get 24 or 36 shots per roll of film, which is a lot more than 10. Just talk about that briefly is a question of negative size. Now, when people talk about sensor sizes in digital cameras, the larger the sensor is, usually the better the picture is. This is why full frame cameras, which shoot the same size as a 35 size negative, which is this size. These are the expensive cameras that you see professional people using. They're really big because the sensor size is huge. I know this doesn't seem particularly huge, but this is really big for a digital sensor. Most cameras that people buy, DSLRs people buy, like normal people, are crop sensors, which are either 3/4 or 2/3 the size of this. And no, I don't have one because this is a negative, and negatives don't come generally much smaller than this. There are smaller ones out there, but I don't shoot that size film. So 35 is the smallest that I go. So this is a 35 millimeter negative, and this is a 6x7 negative. So as you can see, that is substantially larger. Look in front of the window. That doesn't work as well. This is a lot larger than 35 millimeter. There are some companies now making medium format digital cameras or medium format backs for digital backs for existing medium format cameras, but I am not that rich and can't afford those. So medium format for me means shooting film. And obviously this is humongous, so you get a lot more detail in there than you can get out of a 35 millimeter. So that's why I'm shooting medium format, because size is important. Sorry, fellas, she lied to you. All right, so now that you've listened to me prattle on about negative sizes and sensor sizes a little bit, let's get to the fun part, which is this week's images. Now, as I said, I shot 2 rolls of film. The first roll is black and white. It's Ultrafinextreme 400. I don't know anything about the company Ultrafinextreme, but I do know about their film because it's inexpensive and I personally like it. Now, for reasons I don't entirely know, probably because my fixer is running bad, these shots came out really grainy. I also was kind of pushing the film a little bit, so that may also had something to do with it. Grain, of course, is different than digital noise, and a lot of people who shoot film like grain. I do like some grain. I thought these were a little much, but I guess you can look at them and decide for yourselves. And then the second roll of film was done in color. Again, that's the Lomography, the pink series, which I believe is discontinued based on their website. But that was a 400 speed ISO. They were both 400 speed ISO. All the indoor images were shot at around f4 to f5.6 and around 30, 1/30 of a second shutter speed. Now, I know 1/30 of a second sounds really slow, but because I was shooting with the Koni, it's a leaf shutter, so there's no mirror flap, and you can achieve somewhat lower handheld speeds. One other thing I noticed about my Koni was shooting at that aperture, my focus plane was off a little bit. I'm pretty sure that's a rangefinder adjustment. This was the backup Koni. My primary Koni isn't back yet from having its rangefinder recalibrated. So when it gets back up, I'll be sending this one off to Nebraska to have its rangefinder taken care of. Because, the rangefinder doesn't work, it's not nearly as effective. Obviously, you can use a smaller aperture and a longer shutter speed, but I was carrying it in my hand, so I couldn't go much slower than 1/30 of a second. All right, so next, the pictures. Okay, so that was it for this week's images. I hope that you liked them. If you want to go and look at my Instagram, I'll probably be cleaning the pictures up some and posting, improved versions there. My Instagram and Flickr links are going to be down below, I hope, if I remember to put them there. And I will see you guys next week for week 2 of 52 rolls. Oh, watch out for squirrels.